Mama, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about lies.
See, this motherfucker's Hitler. He didn't come to play.
Talk about Trump derangement syndrome. What's up, everybody? This is Mike. Today we're going to look at this video from Zerlina Maxwell from her Progress podcast on Sirius FM. The guest on this particular podcast is Jenifer Lewis. Jenifer Lewis is a well-known actress on a local level in terms of the show Blackish. She seems to be relatively accomplished in her career. This woman, Jenifer Lewis, came down with a major case of TDS, that's Trump derangement syndrome, just in case none of you people out there know what it is. Apparently, if you're on the Republican side, you know all and too well what Trump derangement syndrome is. This is one of the most unhinged rants I've ever seen in my life when it pertains to the orange man, the orange boogeyman, Donald Trump, that everybody seems to be universally afraid of if he becomes president, and how democracy will fundamentally be destroyed. So anyway, let's look at this unhinged rant together from Jenifer Lewis. Roll the clip.
Black people don't want to fight you. All we want to do is feed our children and be equal. But honey, white people are scared. They're becoming a minority. The world is brown.
Yeah.
And they're going to do everything they can to stay in those gated communities.
They're doing everything to stay inside of those gated communities. Look up Jenifer Lewis's net worth. She's somewhere in the range of $7 to $8 million. I don't have $8 million. Do you have $8 million?
Wow!
She's living in Sherman Oaks. Who lives in Sherman Oaks? People that have affluence, have done well with themselves in life. Why isn't she in Compton? Why isn't she in Ladera Heights? Why Sherman Oaks? People that move to Sherman Oaks into the valley means they're trying to get away from black people.
Show them the pool.
How deep does this go?
Hey, listen, don't film the front of the house.
No.
Then a motherfucker know where I live.
No, not at all.
I have to shoot a bitch.
So she's criticizing and critical of white people for wanting to stay in their gated communities. But at the same time, she's living in a very white, affluent district in Southern California, being Sherman Oaks.
Yeah.
And they're going to do everything they can to stay in those gated communities, not pay taxes, and put those niggas in their places. And get those wetbacks out of this goddamn country. We own this bitch.
She right now is projecting what she believes white people are saying. Put them niggas back in their place and get them wetbacks out of here. This is her language. She also says something like, the world is brown. And this host just says, Has anybody taught this person geography? You have Russia, the biggest landmass in the world. So we're Russia, Europe, China. Miss Jenifer Lewis, you're talking out of your ass. What are you talking about? China, 1.2, 1.6 billion people. What is she talking about? You can't just have a host, Zerlina Maxwell, and say, the world is brown. No pushback.
We've spent time trying to decide what flavor ice cream we're gonna get. Because there are 10,000 flavors.
Right.
We spend half our lives choosing, trying to make a choice on bullshit. What movie tonight? Let me sit here for a half hour. No bombs going off. And we do nothing. We sit on our couches. Oh, I don't believe in voting. You fucking idiot.
Maybe as an American citizen, I don't like what I'm looking at. And if you're putting people and pitting people against one another, because what? Joe Biden is the lesser of two evils, and Donald Trump is the ultimate evil. And somehow, if I want to sit on my sofa and watch Netflix and eat my 10,000 flavors of ice cream because I have a choice, if I don't participate in the electoral and voting process, I'm somehow an idiot. Miss Jenifer Lewis, with all due respect, I'm not going to choose an old man who shakes hand with a person that isn't there. I'm not going to vote for a man that's slipping and falling on stage.
If that man gets in, as soon as he takes the oath, he will have generals walk down the steps of the Capitol. He will take a hammer and break the glass where the Constitution is, and he will tear it up in our faces.
Preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So we got a hammer and we have the Constitution. She said Donald Trump's going to put a hammer to it and he's going to rip up the Constitution. Donald Trump is going to rip up the Constitution and take a hammer to it. This is not theater. This is real life. Donald Trump is going to throw the Constitution, take a hammer to it. Do you see the craziness? Do you see the craziness with these people? Hammers to the Constitution. Bunch of generals. This is a crazy, unhinged person.
And he will tear it up in our faces.
Mm.
And say, now, I'm the king of the fucking world.
Come on.
You will bow down, bitches.
This my shit. Bow down, bitches.
This sounds like a lot of RuPaul Drag Race. Have you heard Donald Trump say bow down, bitches? Say, bow down, bitches. Get your ass out of here, wetbacks. Get in place, nigga. This is supposedly a serious conversation between black intellectuals.
He will punish everybody that didn't vote for him. Let me tell y'all how I know this shit. I know it because I know what mental illness looks like. That mania is unstoppable. See, this motherfucker's Hitler.
I don't know if this is an act. I don't know if she's trying to perform, practice, get her chops, her acting chops together. But no way in hell somebody could say this man is equivalent or is potentially the next Adolf Hitler. What are we talking about here? Are we that deranged right now? Are we that deranged right now? And have a little respect for the Europeans, for crying out loud. You can't just say the next upcoming potential U.S. president is going to be the Hitler. Is there any evidence of Donald Trump being the next Hitler? This man is living in a high-level, high-end, exclusive part of Florida who plays golf at Mar-a-Lago. Why I'm really angry about this video is because when somebody equates a person to Hitler, Hitler is one of the most controversial historical figures in modern times. I mean, there's only a few people in the history of the world that actually can stand up to the title of a Hitler. So when you label a former sitting president who's everybody has demonized, they said he won't leave the office. He's never going to leave the office. You could look at media clips from 4 or 6 years ago, and you could see the rhetoric that was being spread, this propaganda on these mainstream networks. I have people here in Europe asking me, Mike, who do you believe is going to be the next U.S. president? I am not sure. I do not know. But I believe, based on what I'm looking at on social media, there's a huge red wave coming in support of Donald Trump. Europeans have carried the brunt. They have suffered at the hands of Hitler. Europeans know their history. Polish people are shaking in their boots because they're looking at the mainstream media in America, because they're very curious and they're invested in what the future will be for them. And when you go online and you see people saying, if Donald Trump is elected, it's going to be the next Adolf Hitler, people remember these times. There's statues all over Europe, especially here in Poland, where people are remembering these Holocaust survivors. For this to be said on mainstream media, on a platform, on Sirius FM, it's reckless. And it does the Jewish community a disservice. It does the European community a disservice, a huge disservice. So to just say, if this guy's elected, it's going to be the next Hitler, people take that stuff seriously. And I don't know if in America we really don't take things seriously. We just throw around tags and titles and just, it is what it is. We don't have a lot of really worldview or understanding how the rest of the world works. This woman said Donald Trump is, white people in general are fearful because the world is brown. This woman needs to get on get a globe. Just look at the world as a whole. You have New Zealand, Austria, Europe, China. How many countries are across the planet? Greenland, Iceland, and Antarctica. The United States is about 75% Caucasian. What fear is she talking about? So when a woman can come on a podcast and say white people are fearful because the world is brown, by the way, do you see how she projected? She projected words. She said they're gonna send away all the wetbacks. They're gonna something about all the niggas. Those are her words. These are her words. She's putting her words in the mouth of white people. This is what's wrong with these race hustlers. And on top of it, they will be as reckless in their speech and say Donald Trump is going to be the next Adolf Hitler. Charlemagne the God says it's the end of democracy. Angela Rye says it's the end of democracy. This woman, Jenifer Lewis, who should just stick to acting, and RuPaul's Drag Race, you know, this is not a person fit to be speaking on politics. I'm not speaking on politics. I don't know the half about politics. It looks dirty. At the bare minimum, the politics right now in America look like a sewage. So I understand drain the swamp. This is the most embarrassing thing about it too. This is a black woman. Black woman unhinged rant on major TDS. Trump derangement syndrome on a level 10. This is the craziest stuff I've ever seen. And I know Americans don't care about Europeans. I know we don't have much of a vested interest in Europe, but you cannot say Europeans don't take these types of statements laying down. It's traumatic for them. Millions of people lost their lives at the hands of a real man named Adolf Hitler. And when you compare an upcoming and potential sitting president in the White House and compare him to an Adolf Hitler, I can appreciate America has a lot of free speech, maybe too much free speech. I'm not calling for censorship, but we have to be responsible in our speech. We cannot say Donald Trump, former sitting president, potentially future sitting president, is Adolf Hitler. It's not right. And people either are out of touch with reality or really don't know history. Anyway, this is Mike for Flew with the Coop. Until the next video, peace.